Hello and welcome. I am Raziel, and today I want to talk about painting and how it can change compared to everyone else. Like painting your models is fun. It's not my favorite part. I love building. I really do. I love just putting things together. I think it just leaves me so much joy just to see something put together before painting, and then painting it afterwards is just an absolute delight. And I've been painting my Armoured Clash at the moment, which is pseudo-historical, and I want to get to that in a minute. See, when it comes to science fiction settings, which are non-IP related, so not Judge Dredd, you have leeway where you want to paint. Yes, with Wild West Exodus, you might want to paint the Union and the Confederacy models as they are, and cowboys are cowboys sort of thing. Which is cool, and I think that's really nice, but again, it's a sci-fi setting which has aliens, interdimensional beings, and all sorts of nonsense. You could literally paint them any way you wish, and you would have an absolute blast. It doesn't matter that, you paint Jesse James with bright yellow spots all over his face, or make him bright purple because he's affected by the hex. It doesn't really matter. Same with 40k, you can paint your Space Marines any colour, your Imperial Guard any colour. Same with Mantic and Firefight, you can paint your Enforcers, your GCPS, any colour you want because of the setting being science fiction. You're not kind of stuck with any genre tropes that would come with this. However, when it comes to fantasy, IP and historical, there tends to be a lot sterner boundaries when it comes to painting your models. You don't have to. I'm not saying, you've got to paint Judge Dredd like Judge Dredd, you've got to paint this like this, I do not believe in that. They're your models, paint them however you wish, have fun, go nuts. I'm just saying what goes through my mind and sort of things that I do. However, I do find, such as painting my Judge Dredd, I'm finding my greens and my blacks and my golds are starting to really pop on other models because I've had so much practice with Judge Dredd and the judges. And when it comes to bold action, I'm doing a lot of sandy colours. So my sandy colours from practicing on my Desert Rats is popping out on my other models as well, because I'm getting lots and lots of practice. Now, what I've realised though, IP is excluded in this one. With fantasy and historical gaming, you actually get a lot more leeway than what is first presented to yourself. And when I started to realise this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool. Because you have so much leeway. It's just remarkable how much you have. So, but then you get to do the one thing that I really enjoy, because I'm a massive, massive nerd, of course, because wargaming, comics, science fiction, etc. I'm a huge nerd, which means I get to do research. And I love doing this. I love looking through different World War II books. I love looking through different fantasy books, the art books, etc. and seeing how I can change my models to look different on the battlefield and not hit those genre tropes or anything like that. See, with Bolt Action is a World War II game, and you're kind of, you're painting in World War II colours. Germans are grey, Yanks are green, British are green, etc, etc, etc. You have kind of that stigma. Stigma? No. I don't know. That word that I will use there, but I cannot remember it at the moment. So, but when I would go out and look at other regiments within those armies, like in the American army, you would have the Pacific Theatre as well as the European Theatre, and there would be slight colour changes to them, the different shades of green, etc. Even some slight camouflage or shorts, etc. And when I realised you can actually start theming your army, even though you might be playing Battle of the Bulge with American soldiers from the Pacific Theatre. I mean, this is just a fun game after all. But you'd have that different look. And there were some tanks during World War II that were painted pink in the desert. Yes, pink. And it actually acted as a very cool camouflage. And I was thinking, so this is really cool. This is a really nice way to look at this. But when you do that research into what other army historically you're painting, you can get different looks. And so, like Conquest and the Old Dominion being very, very Roman, you could look at the Praetorians and you could paint the cloaks and everything purple, you can paint them red, or you can paint them blue. You have these three different variations which would be true to Roman eras or different Caesars, emperors, governors, etc., who'd want their Praetorians painted slightly different, blue, red, yellow, whatever. You just go nuts. And when it comes to the rust, a lot of the old Dominion that people use do a lot of verdigris on their armour. And I was thinking, I'm not a big fan of doing verdigris, so I looked up Roman armour, as it looks now, all rusted, and I went with a rusty look rather than a verdigris look. And you can add this difference to yourself, and you can make your models your own. So then it comes to fantasy, and fantasy, once again, you're kind of stuck with the genre tropes of what looks like what. Orcs are green, halflings are small and white, and elves are different shades of pink, etc. Right? And you have that, and same with humans. You've got human skin tones, etc. But you can still have so much leeway within these genre tropes. Let's take orcs, for example. Orcs are a good example for this. You can have many shades of green. If you look at Warhammer, the old world, just for their orcs, you've got bright green for young ones, darker green for, knobs and stuff. You've got the really, really dark green, almost black, for the very hard orcs. So you've got that. However, if you look at, if you decide, I'm going to look at other fantasy settings for my orcs, you can go down the Warcraft route, where you can have red orcs as well as your green orcs. Again, just adding this extra bit of variation and diversity into your models, and having them look a little bit different on the tabletop. And with elves, you can go down this Elder Scrolls route, with the different skin tones they have for their elves. You've got the greenish hue of the wood elves, you have the pink of the higher elves, and the very, very pallid grey of the dark elves. And once again, you can add these to your colour schemes, because it just fits a different fantasy setting, and you're painting fantasy models, and you're not sticking to the quote unquote normal elves or normal look of these models. Same with you humans as well. You can paint them as any skin colour you want, because it's a fantasy setting, and you get so much diversity and variation with your painting. You can improve on how to paint different models and different skin tones just with one army. You can have so much fun practicing and experimenting with different skin tones for the orcs or the elves. And when it comes to the armour as well, you can have so much fun with that. You could choose like the Basilians and have them all decked out in gold, or you could go with the spires, the old spires for conquest, and you can either paint them as they are bony, or you can paint it as gold metal, or whatever. You can go nuts. What this video is basically saying, doing some research into the actual genre itself, like the fantasy, the history, etc., can really make your army pop with a different look compared to anyone else. And you can have so much fun doing this. And when it comes to different scales, you learn different styles of painting too. This is just a little add-on addendum to the video. Whereas I've been learning with Armoured Clash, I'm painting in a more impressionist style rather than the more detailed style, and it just looks really nice when they're finished. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you had a lovely, lovely day, and I hope you're having a good day. I hope your life is treating you well and you're having fun, and I'll see you all in the next one. Of course, if you want to save money on your wargaming, Wayland Games is down below, and I hope you... If you want to support the channel, go and click on them. Free delivery after £20 and up to 20% off on your wargaming. There is Forbidden Planet, comics, DVDs, mangas, etc, 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 all that cool geeky stuff. My comics, my merchandise are down below. There is also Skyforge, never forget Skyforge, a good friend of mine. And finally, Patreon because business. Bye-bye.